Katt Williams has spent years speaking publicly about the darker side of the entertainment industry, and some of his comments have continued to attract attention long after he originally made them. In interviews and comedy routines, he has described what he believes are hidden systems of pressure, manipulation, and control within Hollywood. One of the most discussed aspects of his commentary involves the idea that young entertainers can sometimes find themselves in uncomfortable situations while trying to advance their careers. According to Williams' claims, powerful people may attempt to test an artist's loyalty or boundaries, especially when that artist is new to the industry and eager for an opportunity. He has suggested that refusing certain demands can come with professional consequences. In one account, Williams described being uncomfortable with a situation involving a powerful Hollywood figure and said that he chose to reject what was being offered or expected of him. He has presented that decision as an example of why maintaining personal boundaries can be difficult in an industry where careers may depend on relationships with influential people. These are serious allegations, and they should be understood as claims made by Williams rather than automatically accepted as established fact. Nevertheless, they raise broader questions about the power imbalance that can exist between established executives and performers who are still trying to build their careers. Williams has repeatedly argued that entertainment is not simply about talent. In his view, networks of influence can determine who receives opportunities, who gets excluded, and whose voice receives attention. That leads into one of the central ideas of this discussion: blackmail. The theory presented in the original commentary is that people who possess embarrassing or compromising information about someone can potentially use that information as leverage. The argument is that an individual might make one mistake or find themselves in one compromising situation, and another person could later use knowledge of that situation to pressure them. Whether such a system exists in the broad way alleged is a matter requiring evidence. But the general concept of coercion through compromising information is not new. History has documented situations in which powerful individuals attempted to control others through secrets, threats, or professional pressure. Williams' older comedy material is often brought up in discussions like this because he was already talking about unusual Hollywood party culture years ago. In his stand-up material from the 2000s, he joked about large celebrity gatherings and the possibility of walking into a private room and discovering something unexpected. The comedy was provocative, but supporters later interpreted some of those jokes differently when controversies involving powerful entertainment figures emerged years afterward. That does not mean the jokes themselves prove the allegations that people later connected them to. Comedy often exaggerates, combines observations with fiction, and uses shock value to get a reaction. Still, the fact that Williams was willing to discuss uncomfortable subjects so openly became part of his public image. Another major theme in the commentary is humiliation. The narrator argues that certain controversial situations within celebrity culture may have less to do with attraction and more to do with power. The claim is that humiliating someone can potentially make them feel vulnerable, ashamed, or dependent. Again, this should be treated as an interpretation rather than a proven explanation for every case involving celebrities. The larger point, however, is easier to understand. When someone has authority over another person's career, that imbalance can make it difficult for the less powerful person to say no. A young performer may depend on an executive for auditions, contracts, introductions, publicity, or access to major opportunities. Because of that dependency, rejecting an influential person's request may feel risky. This is why boundaries matter so much in professional environments. The entertainment industry is particularly visible because the people involved are constantly surrounded by cameras, journalists, fans, and social media. When allegations involving famous personalities appear, public attention can become enormous almost instantly. The discussion then turns towards several celebrities who have spoken about difficult experiences or unusual expectations in entertainment. However, it is important not to interpret a particular costume, comedy sketch, performance, or joke as proof of coercion. Actors and comedians regularly play characters that have nothing to do with their private lives. A performance alone cannot establish that someone was pressured or controlled. The original commentary connects several entertainers to a broader theory about Hollywood culture, but those connections should be approached carefully. The most interesting question is not whether every unusual celebrity moment has a hidden explanation. Instead, it is whether people in positions of enormous professional power can create environments where individuals are afraid to challenge them. That question becomes especially important when considering the history of abuse scandals in entertainment. Over the years, multiple industries have faced documented cases involving harassment, abuse of authority, and exploitation. These cases have shown that fame and professional success do not automatically prevent misconduct. They have also demonstrated why victims may sometimes remain silent for years. Fear of losing a career, being disbelieved, facing public criticism, or being excluded from future opportunities can create enormous pressure. This is one reason allegations involving famous personalities should be investigated carefully rather than dismissed immediately or accepted without evidence. The commentary then shifts towards Sean Combs, commonly known as Diddy, and controversies surrounding parties and celebrity gatherings. The narrator uses these stories to discuss the broader idea of how reputation and shame can influence people. It is important to distinguish between documented legal allegations, verified reporting, personal accounts, rumors, and internet speculation. They are not all the same thing. When a famous person's name becomes connected to controversy, social media can quickly combine unrelated stories into one narrative. That can make it difficult to determine what is actually established and what is simply speculation. The underlying theme remains power. People who have wealth, fame, connections, and professional influence can potentially have much more control over their environment than ordinary individuals. That does not mean every successful person abuses that power, but history shows why accountability is necessary. This is where the discussion of Terrence Howard enters the story. Howard has spoken publicly about masculinity, personal identity, and the idea that a person should not surrender their sense of self merely to obtain something they want. His comments are presented as a warning about compromising one's principles for career advancement. The message can be understood more broadly than the specific language used in the original clip. Success may require compromise, but there should still be limits. No career opportunity should automatically require a person to abandon their dignity, safety, or personal boundaries. That principle applies far beyond Hollywood. Whether someone is an actor, musician, athlete, student, or employee, unequal power can make saying no difficult. People sometimes worry that standing up for themselves will cost them an opportunity. The challenge is finding a balance between ambition and self-respect. The original commentary uses the phrase "man card" to describe this concept of personal identity and self-respect. While that language reflects a particular view of masculinity, the broader lesson can apply to anyone. Your identity should not be something another person can simply take away from you. Your worth is not determined by whether you meet somebody else's expectations. And when a person feels pressured to cross a boundary simply to succeed, that situation deserves serious attention. The conversation ultimately moves beyond individual celebrities and toward the larger question of how systems of power operate. Who gets opportunities? Who decides which careers move forward? Who has enough influence to make another person afraid of speaking out? Those questions are much bigger than one celebrity or one controversial interview. And they are exactly why discussions like this continue to attract so much public attention. The second part of the discussion focuses on the broader relationship between power, reputation, and accountability in entertainment. The original narrator argues that people at the top of powerful institutions can sometimes become insulated from the consequences of their decisions. When an individual has enormous wealth, influence, and connections, ordinary rules may not affect them in the same way. That does not mean every person at the top is corrupt. It does, however, explain why strong systems of accountability are important. The entertainment industry has enormous financial incentives. Movies, music, television, endorsements, and live performances can generate millions of dollars. Careers can therefore become closely connected to powerful networks of producers, executives, managers, agents, and other decision-makers. For someone entering the industry, this environment can be intimidating. A newcomer may feel that one powerful person can determine whether they receive another opportunity. That imbalance can make it harder to challenge inappropriate behavior. This is one reason stories from veteran entertainers receive so much attention. When someone with decades of experience says they encountered pressure or manipulation, audiences naturally want to understand what happened. But listening to a claim is not the same as proving it. That distinction is especially important when discussing serious allegations involving identifiable people. The commentary then returns to the idea of shame as a method of control. The theory is that if someone becomes afraid that embarrassing information could damage their reputation, they may become easier to manipulate. Again, this is a general concept, not proof that every celebrity connected to a controversy was blackmailed. Reputation is extremely valuable in entertainment. A performer can spend years building a public image and then watch that image change overnight because of a single allegation, photograph, interview, or viral clip. That vulnerability can create enormous pressure. Social media has made the situation even more complicated. A story can spread to millions of people before journalists have time to verify every detail. A rumor can become accepted as fact simply because it has been repeated thousands of times. This is why responsible commentary requires separating evidence from speculation. The narrator also discusses the idea that some people in powerful positions may use humiliation as a way to establish dominance. While abuse and coercion can certainly happen in professional environments, claims about particular celebrities require independent evidence. It is not fair to assume that every strange public moment has a secret explanation. A celebrity wearing unusual clothing, participating in a comedy sketch, dancing in a certain way, or appearing at a controversial party does not by itself prove coercion or wrongdoing. What matters is evidence about actual conduct. This distinction becomes especially important when discussing well-known entertainers. Public figures often become characters in stories that are much larger than the facts available. Once a narrative becomes popular online, people may begin connecting unrelated events because they appear to support the same theory. That can produce a compelling story without producing a reliable one. The larger conversation about Hollywood, however, remains legitimate. The entertainment industry has faced real scandals involving harassment, exploitation, discrimination, and abuse of authority. Those documented cases have encouraged people to examine how professional power operates. They have also encouraged organizations to create stronger reporting systems and workplace protections. Historically, major decisions have often been made by people far removed from the consequences. Whether in politics, business, entertainment, or other institutions, concentrated power can create opportunities for abuse when meaningful oversight is missing. That is why transparency matters. The public deserves accurate information, and individuals deserve the opportunity to defend themselves against false claims. At the same time, genuine allegations deserve to be investigated rather than ignored simply because the people involved are famous. Ultimately, the story surrounding Katt Williams is bigger than one comedian or one controversial interview. It is about the tension between ambition and independence. It is about what happens when professional opportunity depends heavily on relationships with powerful people. It is about why entertainers sometimes speak publicly about experiences that they believe were unfair or manipulative. And it is about how audiences should respond when shocking stories appear online. The most responsible approach is neither blind belief nor automatic dismissal. Listen, question, check the evidence, and understand the difference between an allegation and an established fact. Katt Williams' willingness to discuss uncomfortable subjects has kept these conversations alive for years. Whether audiences agree with all of his claims or not, his commentary raises questions about power, boundaries, reputation, and accountability that extend far beyond Hollywood. The entertainment industry is filled with extraordinary talent, creativity, and hard work. But like every powerful institution, it also needs accountability. People should be able to pursue their dreams without surrendering their dignity. And success should never require someone to accept treatment that violates their basic boundaries. That is the larger message behind this controversial discussion, and perhaps the most important part for audiences to remember.